We have an exceptional set of guests today. Today's webinar is about maximizing player potential, and we literally couldn't have two better qualified guests than the ones that are here. First is Jez Green. Jez Green hails from the UK. He's got a Bachelor of Science in Sports and Exercise Medicine, and he's been at the top of the game in fitness and movement and strength and conditioning. He worked with Andy Murray from 2006 to 2015, and during which time Andy won several majors, and not to mention the fact of a couple of gold medals as well. He's worked with Thomas Burditch, and as well as the USTA Player Development. And just for giggles, he's even working with the Harvard University men's tennis team. Now he's currently working with Sasha Zverev, and he's been doing that since 2015. And as we go through this, I also want to mention that he actually has his own mobile app called Built for Tennis. And it is all about figuring out how to work through different conditioning techniques. So check it out at the App Store. He's got some great things in there. Our second guest is none other than the Terminator himself. We'll talk shortly about his accomplishments. He is one of the greatest players of all time because not only is he a great champion, but he also fundamentally transformed the sport. And we'll talk a little bit about that later today. And beyond that, he certainly is the greatest of all time as a combination champion and coach, having won 3 slams with Andy Murray as a coach as well. So his calm exterior hides what is actually an incredibly funny and charismatic and sarcastic and witty guy underneath. So without further ado, let me welcome on our 2 guests. Here's Ivan Lendl and Jez Green. Let's light them up, team.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome, gentlemen. I have some great quotes I've heard through the years. Pressure is self-inflicted was one I sort of loved. Elaborate a little bit on that for folks.
Well, it sure is. When kids start playing tennis, they usually start playing for someone, but eventually they will play for themselves. And sooner that happens, the better, in my opinion, when they play for themselves, because they're honest, hopefully, to themselves, how they're training and how they're working and can they do more and so on and so on. And then you answer only to yourself with pressure. So that's why I say it's self-inflicted. I lost a couple of matches, Mark, where I was tired, and I just did not like that feeling. And I made a deal with myself that I will get so fit that I will never lose another match, because the guy was fitter than me. He may beat me, but he's not going to beat me because he outlasts me. And I wish I had somebody like Jez. I have seen Jez work with Andy and with Sasha and with other programs. And I wish I had somebody like that at that time, but we're talking 35 years ago now, and things have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the pro game, like Ivan was saying about longevity now, the recovery strategies are paramount. I mean, if you can, the top players are lucky, they can afford it, they can travel with full-time physios. And even the slightly lower ranked players can like go together and take a physio between 2, 3, 4 players. And if you're getting 2.5 hours physiotherapy a day, your body's going to be better and you're going to last longer.
Well, I think one thing which jumps out in every sport you watch, Mark, is the speed. If you look at the tennis from the 80s, it's slow motion. If you look at track and field from the 60s, it's slow motion. Ice hockey, the same thing. So speed, everything is done with a lot of skill at much higher speed. And that's the evolution of sports. One thing I would like to say to what Jez was saying, and it not only to fitness, but to stroke production as well. I think all these young players trying to become very good very quickly need to remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
When I was a young trainer, I tried to pick the brains of players when I was first on the tour, like literally 25 years ago, trying to sneak a question in before they told me to go away. I remember asking Carlos Moya really quickly on the bike, what is movement in tennis? How do you move well? Because I thought he was a great mover, and I had an opportunity to have 30 seconds with him. And he looked at me and just said, balance, and then walked off. And for probably 5 years, I didn't know what he was talking about. I said balance with one leg, and that's what these exceptional guys do. They can go anywhere on the court, and you just cannot get them off balance. This is the point. So again, if you want to be up, down, sideways, and your feet are going to be that quick, and you can stay with that kind of body control, That's what's exceptional to me. How these guys can be so fast and control their bodies, attacking or defending. That is an exceptional skill.
One of the things that we have on our site here is we have these player spotlights, and we rank the players in the world, based on different categories. And let's talk for a second about a fellow that you know well, Rudy Kwan, right? So here's Rudy Kwan, and we have these profiles on our pages that they're available. And Rudy right now is the number one 14-year-old player in the world. He's only 111 in terms of under 18s. Right? He's only 1,146 in the United States. And globally, he's the 6,094th player in the world. So if ever there was a message that needed to be delivered about, hey, you're on a marathon here, you may be the best of the best, this sort of personifies it.
The thing I say, other than the technique and this and that, number one thing I believe in tennis, and I have not seen a top player anywhere near the top. They have to be viciously, in capital letters, competitive. Just viciously competitive, and that's what gets them through, because they will learn how to overcome things which happen to them, bad luck, disappointments, and so on, and the vicious competitiveness will get them through.